So Donald Trump has always been a national embarrassment, but man, this week he has absolutely went out of his way to just embarrass himself on the world stage. It started with him alongside RFK Jr. We covered that here on the channel, and the damage that they did to the autism community will never be able to really fully be recovered from. And folks, I know there's a lot of people out there that are sharing jokes about Tylenol. And I get it. I do. I understand how absurd and over the top that the whole thing was. But what that really did was it caused a whole lot of people who will never have to deal with autism, who don't know one thing about autism, and who don't care to understand autism, to go, yep, they figured it out. And then they'll be sitting there telling the family of autistic children, hey, they got it figured out. Just don't give your kid Tylenol. So while a lot of these memes and stuff is funny, and I have laughed at a couple of them, you also have to stop and say to yourself, look at the damage that those two did with that national embarrassment. I just wanted to say that before we moved on into this next segment, because just when he got done humiliating himself with RFK Jr., he goes to the UN, and man, this one is really hard to follow, because it is just this one, folks, plays like, I don't feel like that I'm talking about real life here. I feel like that I should be covering an old skit from like Bob and David on Mr. Show. This seems like it should be satire. This doesn't seem like it should be real. But Trump goes to the UN, and first the escalator doesn't work. His teleprompter doesn't work. And he whines and he bitches and he moans, and it should be satire. It should just be a joke. But it's the real world. And as always, no matter what happens in Donald Trump's world, Fox News will always find a way to fan the flames. And that's what they did. They have suggested killing the homeless, and now they're suggesting bombing the UN. And no, I'm not making this up. Take a look at Jesse Waters.
What's going on with the escalator? What do you think?
Yeah, they sabotaged them.
Yeah.
And they could have hurt the First Lady.
Yeah.
Trump would have fallen and he would have gotten back up. But, you know,
they would have blamed it on his rhetoric.
And then they sabotaged the teleprompter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an insurrection. And what we need to do is either leave the UN or we need to bomb it. It is in New York, though, right?
Yeah,
Could be some fallout there.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you notice how that when he said we ought to bomb it, that the other guy said, interesting? They just say these things, and once again, they sabotaged him. They went out of their way to make his life miserable. They always jump to conclusions. They always rush to blame someone else. But according to a spokesman from the UN, they said that one of Trump's team ran ahead and they triggered the safety mechanism that caused it to stop. But as always with Fox News, it's they. And then they suggest these types of things on the air, and they can get away with it because they're Donald Trump's right arm, and he loves them at the moment, and he lets them say anything they want to. Meanwhile, is going after comedians and leaning on them for making jokes that he don't have thick enough skin to take. But Jesse Waters can sit there and say stuff like that all day, and the smug look on that prick's face, and I'm never going to compare him to Pee Wee Herman again, and I apologize to Pee Wee Herman's legacy and to his family and to all fans of Pee Wee Herman when I compare the two. Pee Wee Herman is 10 times the man that Jesse Waters will ever be, but he goes on there and says anything he wants to with that smug look on his face because he knows he can and knows he can get away with it, and they laugh about it. And I'm sure people, Brando, he's just making a joke, man. He's just making a joke. No, they realize they can say any damn thing they want, and they're testing the waters, no pun intended. But they are. They're going to test it and see just what they can say. They suggested killing the homeless. Now they're saying that, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. But a joke they can't stand, a joke that hurts, a joke. I'll talk right here in a minute. A joke that hurts their feelings. Yeah, they can't take that. But this next part's hard to talk about. Then Trump gets in front of the people at the UN. This is the leader of the free world, folks. This is our president. Just roll the clip.
The United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much.
I don't know that I have words for this one, folks. I really don't. It's just so embarrassing. It truly is, and it should be a skit, but it's not. And the awkward silence in these clips is why I'm playing them. I don't like hearing his voice, and a good buddy of mine said, I can't stand to hear that breathing thing he does where he goes, like when he's talking, like the sucking in with his teeth as he talks. I understand that a lot of people don't like to hear his voice. I don't either, but it's the awkward silence and the laughs that kind of ripple through the room, and he's just absolutely humiliating us on the world stage. And here he is bragging about his hats. Bragging about the hats that says Trump was right about everything.
I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. Proud to see this morning I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had.
Again, it's hard to follow that because it's just so pathetic. These people are sitting there looking at him and they're seeing him for the moron that he is, and it's not hitting the same way as it hits when he's out at his rallies, when he's out at his events where people are standing there cheering and they got their flags and their shirts and they're all maggot out, you know. It doesn't hit the same because they'll sit there and cheer that garbage. They'll turn a memorial service into a hate rally and cheer that garbage. They'll cheer him saying he hates his political opponents at a man's memorial. But then it doesn't hit the same when he's on that stage. Because those people are sitting there looking at him and seeing right straight through him just like the rest of us. And to anyone, I have so many listeners from around the world, from all over the countries that message me every day and says they're watching us. And all I can say is I don't blame you for laughing. I do not blame you for having a gut laugh at our expense on this one. Because here he is whining about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize. The guy that says Chicago's about to find out about war. The networks that say that Trump is declaring war on the left is on his own people is up here whining about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize.
Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with their mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars.
I really wish that when he said the part about I want the Nobel Peace Prize, people say I should get it. I really wish the audience had just burst out laughing. I wish they'd have just went for it and started laughing, because I know they wanted to. I know that there was no way they was sitting there taking this seriously. And a guy who is constantly fanning the flames and has a network that is constantly fanning the flames, and any time that a tragedy strikes, and right when I sit down in this chair to do this video, I heard about a shooting in Dallas, and I've not dug into that story yet. I'm not reacting to that story yet because I don't know anything about that story yet. Okay? That's what reasonable people do. But from what I was seeing over on Twitter, they're already saying the radical left strikes again. So they always jump to conclusions. They always fan the flames. They say they're declaring war on people that disagrees with them politically, but they should get a Nobel Peace Prize at the same time. Thankfully, we have Gavin Newsom, who does not care one bit to troll Donald Trump. And I absolutely enjoyed this that Newsom shared.
And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. Your countries are going to hell. Bruh. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad. The best-selling hat, Gavin Newsom, was right about everything.
And I'm going to tell you something. Donald Trump, if anybody has ever deserved to be trolled or has ever deserved to be poked fun at, it's Donald Trump. And I know people say, well, he's president of the United States. No, listen, he has disrespected that office so much. He has disrespected the Constitution, the rule of law, the way that we do things in this country, that Instead of having a remembrance day for an activist, for a podcaster, what we should have is just a day of mockery for Donald Trump. That should be every day. And we should just troll and mock that dude to the bitter end, because there's never been anyone in this world that deserves to be laughed at more than him. And the reason why he deserves it so much is because he has turned us into a laughing stock on the world stage. And I never thought that, there's always been presidents. We lived through George W. Bush. We did. We made it through George W. Bush. And he said so many stupid things that they had a calendar called Bushisms that had 365 dumb quotes. Every day there was a dumb quote. You could flip the calendar, and every day there was a dumb quote from George Bush, and I'm pretty sure they made a volume 2 of that. So we've lived through stupid presidents before, but never one who has just absolutely embarrassed us on this level. So any trolling, any mocking that he gets, that's what he's done to us this entire time. He's trolled us, and so I'm so glad to see Gavin Newsom trolling him back. If anyone deserves it, it's Donald Trump.